from making presidents look like complete fools,
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
to leaving press secretaries and governors wishing they had stayed home.
Like she burns facts, and then she uses that ash to create a perfect smoky eye.
Here are 10 times comedians absolutely destroyed politicians right to their faces. The last one will leave your mouth hanging. Stephen Colbert. Starting with one of the most legendary politician roasts of all time. Stephen Colbert stepped up to the podium at the 2006 White House Correspondents' Dinner. President George W. Bush was sitting just feet away, with a huge smile on his face, expecting the simple entertainment he had planned. But then, Stephen Colbert opened his mouth and things immediately went south.
Because we're not so different, he and I. We both get it. Guys like us, we're not some brainiacs on the nerd patrol. We're not members of the Factinista. We go straight from the gut. Right, sir? That's where the truth lies. Right down here in the gut.
Notice how Bush's smile starts getting tighter? That's the exact moment he realized this wasn't going to be fun. For context, Bush had famously called himself a gut player who didn't need facts or evidence before making decisions. Colbert took that statement, put it on a grill, and cooked it medium rare.
Do you know you have more nerve endings in your gut than you have in your head? You can look it up. Now I know some of you are going to say I did look it up, and that's not true. That's because you looked it up in a book. Next time, look it up in your gut.
But Colbert was just getting started. He went on to play a video he had acted out to depict Bush's inability to answer basic questions, especially about the Iraq War.
The decision to invade Iraq has caused the deaths of thousands of Americans and Iraqis. Wounds of Americans and Iraqis for a lifetime.
Okay.
Every reason given, publicly at least, has turned out not to be true.
I don't think...
My question is, why did you really want to go to war?
Helen, I'm going to stop you right there.
You stepped into
That's
the White
enough.
House. From your
No.
former cabinet officers, intelligent people, and so forth. What was your real reason?
Sorry, Helen, I'm moving on.
By the video's next scene, Bush looked like he was contemplating whether to laugh or call security.
That seems to be the problem, sir.
She won't stop asking why we invaded Iraq.
Hey, why did we invade Iraq?
No! Come on.
The room watched in stunned silence as Colbert used heavy jokes to expose the administration's unaccountability. By the end of everything, Bush looked like he wanted to crawl under the table, and some of his aides were already halfway out the door. The comedian had not just roasted the president, he had dragged him by his tie on live TV. But Colbert wasn't the only one who knew how to humiliate politicians in public. Seth Meyers. In 2011, Seth Meyers made Donald Trump regret inviting him to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. It started when Meyers took the stage and instead of telling light jokes, took an axe to Trump's presidential ambitions and hacked away without mercy.
And then, of course, there's Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
At that moment, Trump probably calculated how many lawsuits it would take to shut down comedy in America and throw Meyers in jail forever. But Meyers wasn't deterred by the look on Trump's face.
He has a great relationship with the blacks, though unless the blacks are a family of white people, I bet he's mistaken.
Trump sat there the whole time looking like he wanted to storm out, but he couldn't leave without looking like a sore loser, so he just had to sit there and marinate in his humiliation.
Donald Trump often appears on Fox, which is ironic because a fox often appears on Donald Trump's head. If you're at the Washington Post table with Trump and you can't finish your entree, don't worry, the fox will eat it.
Many people think it was this night that made Trump finally decide to run for president. If that's true, then it's safe to say that Myers accidentally created Frankenstein's monster, except with worse hair. Thanks for nothing, Seth. Larry Wilmore. 2016 was Obama's last year as president, and Larry Wilmore got the most coveted job in the comedy industry, making sure the president didn't leave office without a few burns. Hence, Larry Whitmore took the stage at the 2016 White House Correspondents' Dinner and roasted the president like Thanksgiving turkey.
And let me just say, Mr. President, the office has taken its toll on you. You look terrible, Mr. President. No, you do, man. I mean, look at you. Your hair is so white, it tried to punch me at a Trump rally. President's hair is so white, he keeps saying all lives matter. All right, fine.
Larry started to enjoy this a little too much and didn't hold back.
No, man, you came in here looking like Denzel. Now you're going out looking like Grady from Sanford and Son. I know it's a dated reference, but you're dated, Mr. President. All I'm saying is that in less than 8 years, Mr. President, you busted 2 time-honored stereotypes. Black does crack.
Not only did the comedian go after Obama's appearance, but he also went after his policies.
You're really enjoying your last year of the presidency. Saw you hanging out with NBA players like Steph Curry, Golden State Warriors. That was cool. That was cool, yeah. You know, it kind of makes sense, too, because both of you like raining down bombs on people from long distances, right? Sure. What?
Just when they thought it was over, Whitmore made sure to touch other big names in the room.
But I have to say about the First Lady, it's so nice to have dinner with you. She's the epitome of grace, class, and poise, isn't she? She really is, yeah. Not to be confused with future first gentleman Bill Clinton, whose 3 favorite strippers are named Grace, Class, and Poise. So.
Bill probably had to sleep on the couch after that. Moving on, we have Joel McHale. In 2014, Joel McHale stepped in front of several politicians and decided that none of them were safe, not Republicans, and definitely not Democrats.
To Republicans in attendance, E is the channel that your deeply closeted gay son likes to watch. Democrats, it's the same channel that your happy, openly gay son likes to watch.
Obama was his first personal target. Joel took a look at him and fired a joke that probably stung a little.
Good evening, Mr. President. Or as Paul Ryan refers to you, yet another inner-city minority relying on the federal government to feed and house your family.
Then he went after Chris Christie and made sure it hit harder this time.
Look, I know it's been a long night, but I promise that tonight will be both amusing and over quickly, just like Chris Christie's presidential bid.
The crowd booed Joel at this point, but he didn't flinch. If anything, it fired him up.
Chris Christie, his administration canceled the train tunnel to Manhattan. They're closing the Pulaski Skyway, and they blocked the George Washington Bridge. Finally, a politician willing to stand up to America's commuters. Governor, do you want bridge jokes or size jokes? Because I got a bunch of both. I could go half and half. I know you like a combo platter.
Even Toronto's mayor, Rob Ford, wasn't left out.
It's a genuine thrill to be here in Washington, D.C., the city that started the whole crack-smoking mayor craze. You guys were the first. I hope he's not here tonight. People say that Toronto Mayor Rob Ford is a clumsy mess, but he can't help it. He's a big guy. He's like a bull in a crack pipe shop.
By the end of McHale's set, he had insulted pretty much every major political figure in America. The room was filled with nervous laughter, and politicians from both parties were squirming in their seats, probably wishing they had passed a law against comedy long ago. But the next comedian pushed the boundaries even further than anyone thought possible. Cedric the Entertainer. In 2005, Cedric the Entertainer took Condoleezza Rice, George Bush's Secretary of State, and dissected her in front of the biggest names in America.
You know, President's got his main girl with him, Condoleezza Rice. Connie, how are you? Condoleezza. I love that name, Condoleezza. It's so soulful. She, she's very professional, but Condoleezza, come on, right there, Condoleezza.
The crowd laughed, and Rice herself joined in, blissfully unaware that Cedric was just warming up. Still using her name, Cedric painted 2 funny pictures of Rice for the crowd.
The Connie, that's the person you see on television with the, the nice hair and very professional. Then there's Delisa. See the one with her hair wrapped up on the phone with her girlfriend watching BET, talking about, girl, ain't that Usher fine? Look at Usher.
Just when the crowd thought it was over, Cedric turned it up a notch.
Connie is employee of the month. Connie is the one that's employee of the month. Delisa is on the parking lot waiting for you after work. Tell me, I know you took all my paper clips. What's up?
Rice was laughing so hard she could barely contain herself. Bush was cracking up too. Cedric had managed to roast a powerful political figure while somehow making it feel like a compliment. The comedian finished his attack on Rice with one final joke about what would happen if her alter ego Dolitza took over during a foreign policy crisis.
Connie's the one, being very diplomatic in the meetings, Well, that's good. It's great. We're all on the same pattern because at the end of the day, freedom is what we all want. The leads will come out like, North Korea said, what?
Rice became one of the few politicians who genuinely enjoyed being roasted at these events, or maybe not. But whether she genuinely enjoyed it or not, Cedric definitely had the room in stitches. Hassan Minhaj. By 2017, the politicians in the White House were starting to get a tad creative with avoiding getting roasted, not showing up at all. Hassan Minhaj had prepared to take Trump down at the 2017 White House Correspondents' Dinner, only to realize that the president was nowhere to be found. But Hassan wasn't about to let the opportunity slide, so he mercilessly dragged Trump even in his absence.
We gotta address the elephant that's not in the room. The leader of our country is not here. And that's because he lives in Moscow. It is a very long flight. It'd be hard for Vlad to make it. Vlad can't just make it on a Saturday. It's a Saturday. As for the other guy, I think he's in Pennsylvania because he can't take a joke.
Minhaj then pretended he was told not to attack the administration. He claimed he only had one Trump joke, and the audience bought it for about 30 seconds. Except it was only the beginning.
Now, a lot of people in the media say that Donald Trump goes golfing too much. You guys are always like, he goes golfing too much, which raises a very important question. Why do you care? Do you want to know what he's not doing when he's golfing? Being president. Let the man putt-putt. Keep him distracted. Teach him how to play badminton. Tell him he has a great body for bobsledding. Play him tic-tac-toe. The longer you keep him distracted, the longer we're not at war with North Korea.
The room burst into laughter, and Minhaj kept hammering Trump throughout his set.
You know Donald Trump doesn't drink, right? Does not touch alcohol, which is oddly respectable. But think about that. That means every statement, every interview, every tweet, completely sober. How is that possible? We've all had that excuse, haven't we? Be like, I said what? No, listen, babe, I swear to you, I was hammered. That's not who I really am. What does Donald Trump tell Melania? Listen, babe, last year on that bus with Billy Bush, that's exactly who I am.
Designed to make Trump look weak, incompetent, and even unhinged.
3 a.m., sober. Who is tweeting at 3 a.m. sober? Donald Trump, because it's 10 a.m. in Russia. Those are business hours.
However, Trump wasn't the only one who didn't show up. His cabinet also bailed. Still, when it comes to roasting, there's always enough shame to go around.
It's not just the president who decided not to show up. His entire administration is not here. Betsy DeVos couldn't be here. She's busy curating her collection of children's tears. Now,
even the Attorney General wasn't left out.
Jeff Sessions couldn't be here tonight. He was busy doing a pre-Civil War reenactment. On his RSVP, he just wrote no, just no, which happens to be his second favorite N-word.
It is safe to say Hassan Minhaj may not be getting invited to White House Correspondents' dinners ever again. Michelle Wolf. A year after Hassan, it was Michelle Wolf's turn. But then again, the president had boycotted the 2017 dinner. However, Wolf wouldn't let Trump's absence stop her from delivering a brutal roast.
Trump isn't here, if you haven't noticed. He's not here. And I know I would drag him here myself, but it turns out the President of the United States is the one pussy you're not allowed to grab. He said it first. Yeah, he did. You remember? Good.
That was one prepared comedian. And then she hit Trump where she knew it would hurt the most.
Mr. President, I don't think you're very rich. Like, I think you might be rich in Idaho, but in New York, you're doing fine. Trump is the only person that still watches Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and thinks, me. Although I'm not sure you'd get very far. He'd get to like the third question and be like, I have to phone a Fox and Friend.
But then again, Wolf was warming up, and she would have no mercy for Trump, even in his absence.
Trump is so broke. He had to borrow money from the Russians, and now he's compromised and not susceptible to blackmail and possibly responsible for the collapse of the Republic. Yay! It's a fun game.
People laughed harder, probably because they knew Trump wasn't in the room to throw a tantrum mid-show. But just when they thought they'd heard it all, Michelle then proceeded to make Trump look even more stupid.
Trump is racist, though. He loves white nationalists, which is a weird term for a Nazi. Calling a Nazi a white nationalist is like calling a pedophile a kid friend. Or Harvey Weinstein a ladies' man. Which isn't really fair. He also likes plants. Trump's also an idea guy. He's got loads of ideas. You gotta love him for that. He wants to give teachers guns.
That night, it wasn't only Trump who got torched. Unfortunately for Trump's press secretary, Sarah Huckabee, she was seated directly in the line of Michelle's fire. Or maybe she laughed a little too loudly.
I actually really like Sarah. I think she's very resourceful. Like, she burns facts, and then she uses that ash to create a perfect smoky eye.
Suddenly, the jokes weren't so funny for Sanders anymore.
Mike Pence, if you haven't seen it, you would love.
As the room erupted in laughter, she sat there with such a stony expression that you had to wonder if Medusa was on the guest list somehow, but Michelle didn't care.
Every time Sarah steps up to the podium, I get excited because I'm not really sure what we're gonna get. You know, a press briefing, a bunch of lies, or divided into softball teams.
This moment would dominate headlines for weeks. Just like that, Michelle had made history and enemies along the way. Conan O'Brien. In 2013, Conan O'Brien took a gentler approach to roasting President Obama. But then again, the room learned not to take a comedian's gentle with levity.
He can handle it. Speaking of the cabinet, the president recently picked his new Treasury Secretary, Jack Lew. Gives me great joy to know that if the president ever has to let him go, he'll get to say, it's not Lew.
The room erupted in laughter. It was a once-in-a-blue-moon opportunity for cabinet members to laugh at the president, but they were not even excluded from Conan's brutality.
He appointed John Kerry and Chuck Hagel. Very smart move. You appointed the only two people in the United States who look even more tired than you. It's a great strategy.
Kept on hammering.
But the quote I hear the most about the president is that he's always the coolest guy in the room. That's what everyone says. He's the coolest guy in the room. All right, but here's my question. Who else is in that room? It's not hard to be the cool one when the other guys in the room are Biden, Hagel and Kerry. I'd be cool too if I was stuck in a room where Tom Vilsack is showing Stephen Chu how to do the Harlem Shake.
Just jokes, right? Obama probably thought as he laughed his heart out. But even the coolest presidents have their breaking point.
It's coming. But I would like to take a moment here and change gears and say something to the president regarding the events of the past 2 weeks.
Insert background clip from 2321 to 2330. Notice how the president suddenly isn't laughing? You would think that Conan would get the hint and stop there, but he decided to double down and keep poking the bear.
Months since you were reelected, sir. So I'm curious, why are you still sending everyone 5 emails a day asking for more money? You won! Do you have a gambling problem we don't know about? Did you put it all on Gonzaga?
The cameras carefully avoided the president's face at this point, but ultimately there were no significant controversies. Conan had proved that you could be savage and friendly at the same time. Jimmy Kimmel. Now let's rewind to 2022 when Jimmy Kimmel had his shot at Obama. Obama sat with a huge smile on, probably thinking he had gotten used to the comedian's roast at this point. Except this time, Jimmy took a different approach and went for the First Lady instead.
And since Mrs. Obama got to the White House, so is dinner. You're very skinny. She doesn't let you eat. I felt weird about eating dessert. I left it untouched. I've never done that before. You know, the real reason people thought you were from Kenya had nothing to do with your birth certificate. It's because you lost so much weight, we thought you were the guy who won the Boston Marathon. This is how you know this country's in bad shape. Our president is starving.
That joke set the tone. This episode wasn't going to be like what the president was used to. And then things started getting heated when Jimmy took a shot at the Secret Service and the president together.
I won't be able to laugh at any of my jokes about the Secret Service, so cover your ears if that's physically possible.
At this point, Obama was laughing so hard he could barely breathe. At least Michelle was off the hook. Then it was Joe Biden's turn to catch some smoke.
Hard to be funny with the President of the United States sitting right next to you, looking at you, and yet somehow, day in and day out, Joe Biden manages to do it. I wish he was here. I wish he was here so he could sit behind me and fake clap like he does during the State of the Union address.
The night went on with politicians getting burned by the unwavering comedian. But then something happened. The politicians decided they could not take it anymore and had parts of Jimmy's speech cut out for being offensive. Jimmy, however, didn't let this stop him. Later, he went on live TV and read out some of the censored parts anyway.
The White House Correspondents Association dinner version of This Week in Unnecessary Censorship.
Come up with a fair compromise in the next few days that can pass both houses of Congress.
That would have caused quite a stir, even for a president known to enjoy getting roasted to his face. But what happens when these politicians themselves start to learn from the comedians? Let's find out. Barack Obama, the most legendary politician roast of all time, was delivered by President Obama himself in 2011. Donald Trump was right there in the audience, still riding high after spending months pushing the birther conspiracy against Obama. Obama had just released his birth certificate that same week, so he took the mic and decided it was time to bury Trump.
As some of you heard, the state of Hawaii released my official long-form birth certificate. Hopefully, this puts all doubts to rest. But just in case there are any lingering questions, tonight, I'm prepared to go a step further.
Obama then played a little prank on the whole room.
For the first time, I am releasing my official birth video. Now, I warn you, no one has seen this footage in 50 years. Not even me. But let's take a look.
Trump sat there looking like he wanted to disappear, but Obama wasn't finished destroying him yet.
He's taken some flack lately, but no one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing? What really happened in Roswell? And where are Biggie and Tupac?
What made the roast funnier was how Obama delivered all of the spanking with a straight face. Perhaps Trump should have skipped that dinner too. As we have seen, no politician is safe when comedians and politicians face each other in a room. They sit there smiling on the outside while dying slowly on the inside. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.